We will, 10 o'clock on time, we'll call this meeting to order. Excused from the meeting. I see that we have a need to excuse Ellen, Councillor Unruh, from the MPC meeting. Do I have a motion? Amanda makes that motion. Thank you, Amanda. All in favor? Minutes from the previous meeting, January 20th. How would you like to handle them? Greg makes a motion to approve those minutes as circulated. Any other comments or questions to those minutes? All in favor of the motion? That is carried. I'd like to acknowledge the guests in the room and do some introductions just to begin. Neil, if you would start us off. Use your microphone, Neil, so that everybody can hear.
Neil Johnson, Division 10, Councillor, Brooks area.
Amanda Philpott, Division 8, Duchess.
Greg Screever, Division 5, Lake Newell Resort and Castles.
And we met before the meeting, Kelly Chrisman from the West Side. Welcome.
Matt Fensky, County Administrator.
Holly Johnson, Division 4, Scandi Bow City.
Dan Short from Division 1, Rolling Hills area.
Lynette Kopp, Division 3, Patricia Millicent area.
Pam Elliott, Admin Assistant Planning and Development.
Good morning, Sandra Stanway, Brooks Bulletin newspaper.
Hi, I'm Maria Jackson, the Supervisor of Planning and Development. Thanks for coming.
And if you'd like to come to the table and introduce yourselves, that would be great.
Hi there, I'm Michael Arnold. I reside in Medicine Hat, but we have a parcel in Bow City.
And with you?
Excuse me?
And introduce.
Yep, and Linda Noster, she's my mother-in-law. She also is a joint owner of the land with us. Perfect.
And I kind of jumped the queue here. I'm going to go back to our screen, our online counselors, our Reeve. Arno, go ahead.
Good morning, Arno Dirk. Can you hear me? Good morning,
yes,
Arno Dirk, Division 9, Gem area.
Adina.
Good morning, Adina Scandrip, Division 2.
And we can pretty much tell why both of them are joining us virtually this morning. We wish you both very much recovery in a short time. Thank you for joining us, everyone. We'll go to post-agenda items. MPC, are there any post-agenda items? Seeing none, I'll call for a motion to approve the agenda, please. Dan? Dan moves to approve the agenda. All in favor of that motion? And that is carried. Development permits. Shanalee or Maria?
Development permit 2022003 is a variance request of the recreational vehicle regulation, specifically number of recreational vehicles allowed on a parcel. In addition, a variance to allow an accessory structure on a parcel without a principal building. The lot is located in the Hamlet of Bow City. In the land use bylaw, it states that an accessory building or structure shall not be permitted in a residential district parcel without a principal building. The applicants are requesting to keep 2 recreational vehicles on the parcel as well as a deck prior to constructing their dwelling. The land use bylaw also states that only 1 recreational vehicle is permitted on a parcel. The applicants are requesting to keep 2 recreational vehicles on the parcel. It is the intention of the applicants to build a home on the parcel in 2026. In the meantime, they are doing work on the parcel in preparation of the build and storing their RVs. The applicants and their parents stay in the RVs when they are at the parcel but have a permanent residence in Red Cliff. The RVs are winterized and stored on the parcel for the winter months. There was no comments from staff. There was 2 adjacent landowner letters received, and they are included in your package. And I've provided 3 options for Municipal Planning Commission consideration. The Planning and Development Department would recommend option 3, which would be a temporary permit. Option 1 is to approve with the variances. Option 2 is to refuse, and option 3 is to approve for a temporary permit.
Thank you, Shannon. MPC, are there any questions? Holly.
I guess a question for Shannon and one for the Arnolds. Is there a difference in, like, is a tax difference if it's a empty lot, an improved lot, a lot? How does that work? And for the Arnolds, I'm just wondering why is it a 5-year plan before you do anything, or are you planning on putting a basement before then, or kind of what's your timeline?
Yeah, go ahead, Shannon.
Normally, having an RV storing on a parcel would not be taxed. However, in this case, because there is a deck and it's hooked up to electricity, it is being taxed. The amount of tax I'm not aware of.
Hi, Michael Arnold. So what we've been doing is we've been developing the land. It was very rough land when we purchased it. There was no leveling of it, and that's such a thing. There was a lot of fallen trees and that kind of thing that we've taken out. We actually put in a sprinkler system so that we could put some grass and level it all out, and then put some trees that are hopefully can start growing before we build our home. Our plan for our home was at this time is 2026 is what we're thinking. We've been doing, obviously the land and some landscaping. There's still plans to bring in a road and prepare everything for a structure. The reason of us kind of taking our timing, doing it in steps is this is a secondary home, and then my plan is to have it as a retirement place where I will live in the future. And in the meantime, we have been using our trailers as a way to work and develop the land as we stay there and try to do that. There was some concern about us having them plugged in, which I wasn't even aware that we were actually doing anything that we weren't allowed to be doing, as I've been trying to make this kind of a place that will be ready for a home. So I guess plugging them in, I just wanted to point out we have had them plug in for use when we're there, but we had left them plugged in this year we had some mice issues. So we bought some mice deterrents, and they're a plug-in thing, and that's why we've left them plugged in over the winter. There was concerns of people, I guess, wondering if we lived in them, and we, rarely stayed in them longer than a week at a time. I think maybe the most we've ever been there with my holidays and stuff, and it was to develop it was up to 2 weeks, I think. So 2026 is our thought of being financially able to start the build of the home structure. And during the time, we've been trying to, when we had the money, do a little here, a little there, and that's what we've been doing.
Thank you. Holly, follow up.
Yes, just in the letter that we received from a neighbor, can you address the 5 RVs there at some times, and apparently I understand there's 3 there currently, is that correct?
Yeah, so currently, we'll start with that. Currently, there's 3. We purchased a new trailer this last year. The old trailer, we hadn't sold it yet. We need to sell it. So the third trailer that I guess is kind of on the top of the two, you might have a picture of that there. That one is planned to be removed. We were going to try to sell it in the spring. And would you like to answer?
I want to make it clear that we had no idea that we were not allowed to keep our trailers out there. That third trailer was put there because it hadn't sold yet, but we didn't know we were doing anything wrong. And by the time we did get the letter from the county, there was no way we could go in and move it out at that time because people were sick. And so it ended up staying there. Otherwise, we would have had no trouble moving it out of there.
Okay, thank you.
And then because of winter and the snow, when things are cold like that, then you don't want to have to move them. So that's why it's there.
What is the lot size?
I believe it's just under 1.5 acres.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
So the second question you had was, you asked about why there would be five trailers at times. We've had people come out and help us with like building the deck, that kind of thing. And to be very honest, we've had guests at times that came out while we were out there. So, and like, it's interesting because I have seen a lot of other people have visitors and stuff like that too. So at times other people would have trailers on their land for visitors. So.
And do you understand the reasoning behind the rule in the land use bylaw?
Absolutely.
Okay,
I can definitely see where the concern lies. Like Linda said, and I said, we were unaware that we were doing anything that was outside of the rules. So, you know, our whole plan when we purchased the land was to develop it over time. And we did inquire if there was a time allotment when we bought it on when we needed to build, and that answer was there was no time allotment. So I was like, great, okay, well, we can develop it as funds are available and that kind of thing.
Good. Yeah, thank you. Oh, Holly.
A question for Shannalee, because this is the neighbor who raised it. So if two are approved, can they still have like visitors, or how does that work? I'm trying to look at the concern from the neighbor who's saying there's a campground just down the street. And normally, yes, having neighbors friends pull in for a weekend isn't a problem, but what makes
good question
3 or 5, what does that mean now?
Yeah.
I'm just going to let Maria answer that one. I'm not sure of the answer of that.
Okay. Go ahead, Maria.
Thanks, Madam Chair. We do have stipulations in the land use bylaw for how long a trailer can be situated on a parcel with guests. So that would be, you know, if I had a family reunion and someone came, then they could stay. And of course I can't just turn to the page right now and recite it, but I believe that's 14 days. Does that sound right? 14 days. In this case, because there is no permanent residence, MPC would have to decide if that would be something that they would be willing to do based on the fact that there are already two RVs located on the parcel and no permanent residence.
Shannalee.
And I just wanted to add that there is a condition E on the permit that states that only 2 recreational vehicles are permitted on the parcel. Yeah.
Go ahead, Mr. Arnold.
I just have one question. So with the two, like we have had people come out and help, and there was plans for some people to come out and help, additional to the 2 owners. I guess I would be interested, like if there was a structure on it, there would be no limitation on how many people would come and stay for a weekend. Is that, or less than 14 days, is that correct? And I guess one question, sorry, was what's the definition of a residence? Is that a structure or is that people?
Shanley?
The land use bylaw states that in a residential area, only 14 days is the number that they're allowed to be on the parcel without moving. So it's a little bit sticky. Like in most situations, if you had like Maria had said, a family reunion, one weekend of the summer, most people wouldn't worry about that. This situation might be a little bit different. I don't know that if it was a one weekend family reunion that we would enforce that type of thing. But we do have in the land use bylaw that it is one RV for 14 days.
Yeah. And that goes back to my question about, do you understand why it's in the land use bylaw? It's because you're competing with the Bow City campground just down the street, right? So, and that's what the neighbors see and that's what they feel, as I would think as well. So that's another conversation that maybe we could have afterwards. We do have a couple options on the table. Neil, I saw your hand.
I'm just wondering, how many days a year would this involve where you have multiple campers out there? Like 20, 14, 15?
Well, some years would probably be none. Other years there was maybe a couple, but often they would come out when there was a bigger project like the deck. They would come out and help. When I was doing some landscaping, I had people come out and help too. They brought their trailers because it was convenient. They could stay just for distance and stuff like that. They're coming from Red Deer or Medicine Hat or Calgary. So have we enjoyed it? I guess a little bit in some downtime in between times when we weren't working. I'll be honest, yes, we've enjoyed it, but hasn't really fully been used as just a campground. People have come out to help, and that's usually what has happened there. But
So
to I guess answer that, I guess, sorry, was maybe 14 days in a year, maybe.
So the structure is there in the land use bylaw, and we would have to deal with that at another time, I would think. Right now, we're trying to get the 2 trailers to stay on the lot. That's the purpose of this question here, okay? Because right now, it's against the land use bylaw, okay? So let's stay on task with the question at hand. Arno, Adina, do you have any questions? I don't want to think I'm not paying attention. Arno, go ahead.
No, I was waving. I understand what's happening here. And I would just note that if it's a 1.5 acre lot, there is significant space there. So I understand the dynamic. So I would can appreciate the concern.
MPC, direction on this? Neil, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm prepared to make a motion on that, the 4 years with conditions on the end if the units aren't there.
Option A then, or 1?
Is that how that reads?
I believe so.
I don't think, these are almost impossible to enforce. 14 days for a work party is not a big deal in my mind.
Well, that's another topic. We're trying to get the 2 permanent structures
that's
there.
that's what my motion is.
Okay.
The 2 with
Shanley,
conditions.
I saw your hand up. Is there a question?
Sorry, no, I was just going to say that's option 3.
Option 3.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Holly.
I'm sorry, I'm a little slow, Shanley. Can you explain the difference between 1 and 3? I'm kind of confused.
Option 1 is to approve the variance indefinitely, and option 3 is to approve the variance for 4 years that they have to have a house on the parcel or the RVs off.
There we go. I have them in front of me. going to call the question. All in favor of Neil's motion? Hold your hands up. That is carried. So we have, I forgot to vote, sorry. So we have consensus and agreement to permit those trailers, and staff will support you through the rest of your questions, okay? Thank you so much for coming in today. Much appreciated. And
I would like to thank you all too. Thank you very much.
We wish you luck with your development.
Thank you.
Okay, back to our agenda. Other business, item 8. Any questions or comments under other business? Newell Colony, Maria, did you want to add anything on that?
This is an application to build a chicken barn and increase the amount of layers in the Newell colony. So ultimately that decision is made by the NRCB. They are giving the county the opportunity to respond if there's any concerns or questions. So I have drafted a letter that's response to the NRCB. So if there is any questions or concerns regarding that response, then I could definitely alter that. Otherwise, I think it's an information item. Thank you.
Okay. And NRCB, just for us newbies, is an acronym for?
The Natural Resources Conservation Board.
Thank you. Yeah. And that's because, good job. Are there any questions on that information item? Seeing none? Yes, oh, Lynette, go ahead.
I'm not sure if I wasn't reading it correctly, but part of it shows road closure on the one picture. Mm-hmm. Was that already dealt with? Like, I thought that's what we were looking at. I didn't totally understand.
Go ahead, Maria.
That's a great question, actually. So there is a road closure that's associated with this that we will talk about, or that I will be presenting at council for an approval to proceed. So they want to construct this barn, and the idea is that they want free range chicken designation, I suppose, and with the idea that maybe in the future they'll look at organic. As part of that, they need a certain amount of free range area, and the location of the current chicken barns is in proximity to that road. So they would like the ability to fence off that road allowance. So I did state in this letter to the NRCB that they do have to remain within 6 meters of the road allowance, or, you know, as per the setbacks in the land use bylaw. So as long as they maintain that setback, then because this is an agricultural building, they will not require a development permit. But if they want to fence off that road allowance and use that for their sole benefit, then they would have to close that road allowance.
Good. Any in camera today? No? Then question period. Are there any questions of staff regarding MPC? Seeing none, I'll adjourn this meeting. 10:25.